Apparently, the Doomsday 747 is in the air. It was took off 2 days ago or so. And it's in the air. If you all remember, on September 11, there were photographs of the Doomsday airplane flying over DC, and everybody, they looked up and they were like, what in the hell is this? And it's just all white virtually, and they might add color here or there on it from time to time, but it is a total command center for the United States government, at least one of them, of course, meant to be able to stay aloft for a very long time by way of refueling, at least as far as we know. They might have superior things at their disposal. They might have superior things like the BMOP, bunker busting bombs that were just used on Iran. The United States is at war. You all have been watching, I'm sure. And what are your opinions on this? What are your thoughts? Tag me as No White Guilt. President Trump said to watch Trump get pressured into. You could see that he did not want. He wanted to be able to make a deal. He prides himself on making deals. And he wanted to be able to make a deal with Iran, same way he did the first term, although, again, he would have been able to make a deal with Iran that was maybe a win-win, which is the best kind of deal, so that you can revisit deals in the future. Instead, to appease anti-white pigs like the Zionist Laura Loomer and of course Israel and all of the individuals who are supporting Israel and support America's subservience to Israel and all of its needs, desires, wants, aims, concerns, etc. All anti-white pigs. He would have been able to make probably a win-win deal with Iran if he didn't have to go in there and to tear up the JCPOA, the Iran deal, to appease Israel and then kill the general and on and on. Now, make no mistake, what you're not going to get from me is some sort of allyship with Iran. Not friends with Iran. My sole focus in life is Western kind. That's my sole focus. That's all that matters. I don't hate anybody for the way they're born or even dislike anybody for the way they're born. I despise from the marrow of my bones anti-whites, and I couldn't care less what pair of legs they came out of between. I don't care. So I'm not like so many that you're seeing in this back and forth online. God, there are just so many layers to this. Not like so many who hate Israel or who hate Jews, and so therefore they are allies, they're friends or supporters of Iran, or the reverse. You're not going to get that out of me. All I'm going to come into this equation asking and fighting for is the well-being of white people. Now, I want all innocent people to be safe and have wonderful lives. I've always had this as one of my guiding moral principles, and that the only thing that could really incite my ire, and this is how it should be for you, is anti-whiteism, anti-white sentiment. And don't forget, we're going to be talking about how to talk with our brothers and sisters in the world who might be a little bit overly sensitive about anti-whiteism, who might be a little overly sensitive about what's going on right now. But it's a really fascinating time because there is a huge divide in MAGA. And where are the different sides? Well, on one side, you have a big percentage of, it seems to me, a big percentage of anti-white Jews who they love using the white man's intelligence, his creations, and his ingenuity, his money, his etc., for their enrichment, for their betterment, to wipe out the people they don't like. They love it. They're on one side of this equation. The problem with them, if you want to be an actual man or woman of the West, is that they're anti-white. I'm not in their story. You shouldn't be in their story. You shouldn't be their goyim or whatever. Before I left Christianity, where I walked away from organized Christianity, made me an orphaned Christian. One of the things I objected to, while still I was a preteen, was viewing the world as Jews and Gentiles. And I said, no, just instinctually, the spirit of the West spoke through me, as it can and has and will speak through you, and said, absolutely not. That's not the story I'm living in. That's not the story that my creator would force me to live in. That there is the special people and then everyone else on the planet. Just like that on the quick news, the meme I shared where race is a construct. Hell no. There ain't Jews and then everyone else. No, there is us and then everyone else. And if that offends you, then fuck yourself right off. If you find that objectionable, then get the fuck out. I don't care. You've been tolerating it at church when the Jews get to be the special people. And now you're going to tolerate that the Westmen are the special people. We are the ones that the Creator loves the most. How does that sound? A little bit of reversal there. We are the ones that the Creator loves the most. And if you're a Jew right now and you hear me say, you go, oh my God, then fuck you. And I don't even want to hear about this whole, and but Jason, there's a new covenant, which I don't give a shit. From the beginning, it is not Jews and everyone else. You gotta go back to that book. You got to go back to that book that some of you like to thump on, and you need to change some passages. And don't even look to me and act gut shot that pages can't be changed, because the pages keep getting changed. It never was Judeo-Christianity until anti-whites decided to make it that. So you need to go back to that text and rewrite some passages. And then get back with me. Because I am not going to live in a world of it's the Jews and everyone else. Because part of the reason that a giant segment of the white population, especially in America, but all over the world, are given to this illogical support of Israel is the Bible and Christianity telling people that they're the special ones. And it's totally illogical. And you saw Ted Cruz not able to defend this. Those who bless the Jews get blessed by you. Those who bless Western kind get blessed, buddy. That's how the world is going to work in the future if we have anything to do with it. Those who bless the Jews get blessed. And Tucker making a great point in that back and forth. And we're starting there with the Judeo-Christian, not legitimate Christian, but the Judeo-Christian element of this, because it is this tailwind that makes everything that certain percentage of the overall Jewish population want so much easier for them. So Tucker asked the pertinent questions. Like, well, when it says that in the Bible, is it talking about a Jew as Israel and being kind to a Jew? Or is it talking about the current nation state? And of course, Ted Cruz, well, of course, it's the current nation state. This is one of the most popular and celebrated politicians on the right in America. I'm a little worked up. You got to appreciate, you got to understand, nothing that's happening right now is for the good of Western kind. We can have another conversation about, well, is it good for psychos like the Iranians to have weaponry? Look, if I had my druthers, and I'm going to take a look at what, and I'm going to get right back to this. If I had my druthers, and I'll get to one of my tweets here, I would not have allowed any other planet, or sorry, any other country on the planet to have nuclear weapons. None. Zero. If I had my druthers, if I had been in charge, zero. Oh, they're thinking about doing a nuke test? Well, we already have them. Let's just go deliver them. And anybody else who tries to have nuclear tests, we'll just deliver these as well. We'll keep setting them back. It doesn't make... This is the white man's, and I'm going to tell you what, when you get right down to the root of it, this is the white race's fault that there is nuclear proliferation. Because we had this mentality, and we still see it today out of the vast majority of cucks out there. You do in your backyard, and I'll do in my back, as they pull them shorts up a little bit higher. I wonder, Patty, can I get these up over my nipples? Can I get a pair of shorts that will actually cover my nipples next time? Can you add a segment, Patty? He does in his backyard. I was a child, and if any of you were a child, when you found out about this, I want you to give me a tag and give me a hell yes. I was a single-digit child when I learned that America had developed nuclear weapons, atomic weapons. We had built the atom bomb. We had built the hydrogen bomb. Nobody else had them on the planet. As a single-digit child, I said, then how did anybody else get them? As a single-digit child. And they said, well, some couple of Jews stole the all of the knowledge, and then they took it over. And I said, well, so why didn't we just attack? I was single digit saying that. Why didn't we just immediately attack? There wouldn't have to be a big army. There wouldn't have to be just go drop these damn things all over the place. I mean, how many places would you have to drop them on before they see the whole city go up in a mushroom cloud, and they say, okay, if you keep working on the tech, it's going to happen again. If you keep working, it'll keep happening. Meanwhile, my scientists, my engineers would be working hardcore on building more nukes, better, faster, etc. Bigger yield. Jason, that's horrible. Why would you do something like? Because that is safety for the same cuck bitches out there that have said to me in the past that would be horrible are the same people who are supporting Israel right now, doing the same thing to Iran. Think about that for a moment. That is how deep the disease of anti-whiteism is. In the biospirit, in the psyche, in the spirit of the white race. You think you're going to change a leader? You think you're going to vote for I'm going to go cast a vote. You think you're going to go take your rifle and your little handgun and go take on these Star Wars type weapons now that the white man has invented? This has always been a fight over the biospirit of the West. Who's actually going to be the white race? So yeah, don't give me any, my God, you would drop the bombs? You would kill people for peace? Yes. So if it were my druthers, no one else would have nukes. That would include Israel. We'll get back to that in a moment, though. But so you have this phenomenon, this tailwind of these are the specials. These are the chosen ones, and you've got to serve them every conceivable way. I told you, I have it right here. When Ted Cruz and others are saying we, when they talk about Israel and the United States, they're not saying we as in the United States are doing X, Y, or Z in conjunction or etc. with Israel. They are literally saying we as we are an entity. You have a single entity. You have to serve them to be blessed. America really looks blessed, doesn't it? This is really a great blessing for us. Before I get ahead of myself, and you're not going to get this anywhere else, no one else is going to come at this from the angle of what's best for Western kind, what's best for our destiny, what's best in the process of us recapturing our destiny and therefore our countries. Nowhere else. Everyone else lives inside the anti-white narrative. They're taking a side. Are they for the Jews? Are they for the Arabs, the Muslims? Which are you for? So there's this big split in MAGA right now. On one side, it's really fascinating as I come full circle. You've got all these anti-white Jews. And again, that's not all Jews. And again, the problem with them is the anti-whiteism, not their Jewishness. You got that on one side. You have the Republican establishment on the same side. You have congressmen whose names you don't even know, congressmen and women whose names you don't even know. They do nothing, not only for the white race. No, they're not going to do anything for us. They don't even do anything for America. And they got like Israeli flags and they're like, God bless them, God. Total servitude. We don't just complain about that here, as you'll see with those elsewhere who are living inside not only the anti-white narrative, but very specifically also inside the people's story of Israel and the Jews. Sick race we are. So you have the whole Republican, the swamp is in on this. And who's on the other side? Everybody who voted Trump into office. The millions and millions of people. The primary reasons for voting for Trump were immigration. We're going to close the border. We're going to get rid of all of these people because we are a country and we have an identity. I don't give a shit how nice they are, how hard they work. If the strawberries won't get picked, we have a country and we have an identity. We are not going to become another Mexico. We are not going to just be integrated with Mexico. All of these like turbid definitions of what even is a country anymore. What is a war anymore? They've all blurred the lines of definition. This is what's been done to our language by anti-whites. Nothing is what it is anymore. And everything is what it isn't anymore. That's what they've made of our language. That's what they've made of the white man's specificity. And maybe to some degree, it's like a manic specificity that requires that specific degree to formulate, construct, and maintain Western civilization. But not anymore. And rapidly, increasingly white erased. People voted for Trump for immigration and no more wars. The first time he ran, the second time he ran, and the third time he ran, the vast majority of your average white folk out there and some good non-white people, whatever percentage that is, voted for those two things. We're sick of wars. We're sick of the unending wars. We're sick of the Pearl Wars. We're sick of the Project for a New Century wars that are not serving our interests. How do we know that Iran's nuclear weapon is not our interest? How do you know? How do you know? Let's bring Loomer's hideous. She looks like lives under a bridge somewhere and charges people for crossing it. I swear, if this shtick that she's got going on social media, if this doesn't end up paying enough for her and bringing her enough popularity, she's going to head back under the bridge and go back to charging people going back and forth. I swear, if she's not full troll, she's half troll. Anti-white, and actually seeing people defending her. Outrageous. How do we know that Iran's nuclear weapon program is not an issue for the United States? How do we know? Because our intelligence communities, because our population, because our leaders, our presidents, our congressmen and women, et cetera, House and Senate, at the federal and at the state, no one talks about it. It's never on our lips. If it were a big threat, if Iran's nuclear weapons program was an actual threat to our hegemony in the region, to our shipping, to our economic posture, and our military posture in that part of the world, in the Middle East, and more toward Asia in the coming years, if it were an issue, our politicians would all be talking about it all the time. Our agencies would be talking about it all the time. The shipping is going to get, the Straits of Hormuz are going to be, and then we won't, and oil price, gas prices will go through the roof. Our bases, our boys will be killed. And I don't care if there are girls there. Don't be in the military. Our boys will be killed over there. Elect me, because there is an enormous threat to all of our boys in uniform in the Middle East, an enormous threat to our position as hegemonic lord over the Middle East. We won't be able to get oil. We won't be able, if Iran develops a nuclear weapon, elect me. And then the other politician would say, no, elect me, because I will do that much more to prevent our hegemony over the Middle East from being interrupted or undermined or circumvented by these Iranian psychos or whatever it is they would say. But that's not happening. That's never happening. It's never been happening. What always happens instead? So this is for you, loomer, troll. This isn't an American issue. It's not an American project. This is a percentage of the overall Jewish population project. That loomer is like the disfigured hood ornament of on social media. That's what it is. Because this always only comes to our attention when they come hustling out, tottering out of Israel. They come tottering out of these like anti-white, these Jewish havens in America that are housing not only Jews, but anti-white Jews. They come tottering out and they're like, oh, Iran, nuclear weapon. You've got to do something quick. We've started a war with them. That's how it comes to our attention. So all of this effort that you see on Fox News, for the love of God, Fox News, they literally had one after the other of reporters saying they absolutely giddy, like they're being tickled, they're horripilating with joy over the U.S. obliterating Iran. And they're all of them say again and again, I was like, my mouth fell further and further open when they're saying, I just got off the phone with my family in Israel. You are a reporter on Fox News, the conservative mainstream outlet, one after the other. I just called my friends down in whatever beach, or my family down in whatever beach in Florida, and we are all giddy with joy over America doing this to Israel's victim. So no, it is not an America project. It is not an America concern. Donald Trump saying supposedly forever that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon was obviously lip service, or not lip service anymore, was obviously statements for the people that give him big money. Jewish donors that are Israel first, who give big money to Donald Trump, as you saw with Ike Perlmutter, Miriam Adelson, so many others. We've named a bunch of them before. We looked up a bunch of them. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars for their people. Then you have Elon Musk, a white guy with billions and billions and billions. He makes billions in interest every day, practically. Hyperbole warranted. Doesn't give a flying shit for the white race. So who's the problem? Is it the anti-white Jews? Are they the problem? Do you really want to fix this? Do you really want to put an end to this? Do you really want to put an end to being abused like this or not? Because the problem is not Miriam Adelson loving Jews. The problem is with white people not loving the white race. That's the problem. The problem is not with Ike Perlmutter centering Jews before America and everybody else who lives here. The problem is with white people not centering white people. That's the problem. That's what you have to remedy.